Hi there. This video is all about two things, all about feedback and all about grouping. And so what I want to do is kind of take you through just a little bit of a journey, I guess, if you will, with me grouping students and then the kinds of feedback and assessment I give them, and then move on to a conversation with a student and just kind of give you in a nutshell how it all looks here in class. So just to begin with, just the behind the scenes, the groupings. We begin every year with these data sheets. This is my intermediate math class. You'll see we have names, and we have data going back with this spreadsheet here for 2 years, back to the 17-18 year, so last year. And that's only because our principal and assistant principal are newer as far as last year goes. So you'll see that there's Empower data, you'll see that there's Scantron data, you'll see that everything's kind of been broken down. And initially you get this list that's A to Z, and this is kind of all the data out here. And so obviously you want to sort that data. What we do is we sit down with our interventionists, we sit down with our teachers from last year, we sit down with support staff, anybody who's willing to meet and come to the table, which is always everybody, and administration, and sit down and have conversations about these kids and groupings and all of that. So what we did was we sat down with this group, and you'll see they're A to Z here. And so first thing I like to look at is our Empower data, because Empower is the tool that we use to track everything. So let's just sort it A to Z, and so you'll see on this one I have Joey here is at a 3.93 for Empower level at the end of last year, and Guillermo all the way up to here is a level 6 as far as Empower goes. So you'll see quite a big spread going on here, and that's kind of due to the fact that it tops out with me. So there's no place for these guys to go here, and just so happens that these are the only kids here that are in the level 5, and some of these kids are really more in the 4. So so what I had to do is I had to figure out how am I going to group this. Obviously I have a straight 4 that I have to teach. Obviously I have a straight 5 that I have to teach, and obviously I have a straight 6 that I have to teach. And if I ignored either one of those, I would not be doing the kids service and wouldn't be competency based one bit. So in this math class I decided that I had to have 3 groupings of kids. And so what I needed to then decide was, you have all these kids who are these outliers, these 4 to 5s, 4.5 to 4.7, and 5.46 to 5.92. Because math, there is that progression to math. It's kind of difficult. It would be difficult to have somebody come in and try to address every single person's needs. That would be like, if I grouped it that way, there would be what? This would be one group, and this would be 2 groups, and this would be 3 groups, and this would be 4 groups, roughly, and this would be 5 groups, and there's no way that in 2 hours I could teach 5 different math curriculums, right? So what we decided on this was to bump a bunch of these kids up. So Linnea on up, Linnea down to Ray, and this was based upon data that they had. These guys here, we started them off on a 5 at the beginning of the year, and monitor them. And then down here, since these were students that I had, I knew that Guillermo and Camila were a straight 6. Angel was also very strong in a 6. Annalie here at a 5.76 was fairly strong, but also had some holes that needed to be covered. Jaden here, same thing, and Alan here, same thing. They were pretty strong though too. So and Jin Chai down here, he also is a 6 as well. I'm not sure what's going on with that cell. So I made a group of 6 of level 6 students. And so this was my grouping, and these are the kids that I kind of want to talk about here and move forward with. So that's how we group, and obviously just adjustments are made as we go along. Right now, there are a couple of these kids, Linnea, including Linnea here, and that I am thinking about bringing down into the 4, only because she's definitely missing some of these core concepts that we're getting to. There's a lot of overlap within the 4 to 5 curriculum. So it would be easy enough for me to bop her down and fill up some things that she needs, and then bump her back up. Up here with these guys, like I said, these are the guys that I kind of want to go forward with. So with this grouping, I'm using an Engage New York curriculum, and every day there's a lesson that's taught, and every day an exit ticket is produced, and so I'm getting constant student formative assessments. these exit tickets the students put in, and I grade them every night, get them back to them. The students keep track of these on their personal tracking matrices within their learning target, and they keep these in. Why is it not there? It's there, but it's not there. There it is. And so they'll keep track of all their exit tickets, which will show their progression and how they're doing. They know the maximum achievable scores on all of these, and so we'll get them. I'll grade them. I'll pick one that I call my favorite mistake, and I take pictures of those mistakes, and we go over those mistakes so the kids can have feedback. How I present it though is I'll put the mistake up on the board and like this, and I'll say, okay, what was the student thinking? Let's analyze the student's reasoning. I always point out why I think it's my favorite, why I liked it, to try to frame it in a positive manner, and give the kids even more feedback and allow them to kind of make those assessments on their own. And the students record their feedback onto their forms. We every single time I give them feedback, we're asking them to readjust their ratings based upon which indicator that it is that we're working on, and so they have that. The students throughout the course of this unit, which was this was the ratios and unit rates for level 6, which is a really hefty learning target. Had a lot of score 3, score 2 indicators in it, and it took us I think 26 different lessons to get to the point where we're at. Along with the Engaged New York curriculum, the students are engaged with IXL lessons, and so you'll see the students have different ratio IXL lessons. We call them R1 all the way up to R9 on this one, and then S1 and S2 are percentage. These were assigned by me, and the students went in. You can see exactly how many questions they had and how long it took them to gain proficiency within this program. The students also use a program called Prodigy Game, which is one they really love. And the same thing, I can come in and see, I can assign them specific skills, and then within those specific skills, you'll see here, these are all the students in the class. These guys haven't started yet because they haven't been assigned it. And you'll see that with ratio word problems here, I have Angel and Alan are struggling, and I can see their percentages, and I see that Jin, Chai, Camila, and Guillermo have mastered it, so I'm getting their percentages as well. I do put these in as evidences depending upon the curriculum and depending upon the indicator. And so another way for me to gain feedback about how they're doing, and they also use Khan Academy, so that's a great way for them to get feedback. My students, especially this level 6s, are very good about when they aren't understanding something, seeking out help and finding online videos and talking to their friends, talking to their group. So they're a really tight-knit group of kids. It's been fun to teach them and fun to watch them learn. So we went to here, and then the students all just took their end of module assessment, and so what that was is I did tailor that to specifically, let me go into my documents here, level 6 end of module assessment, and so I did create this for them. So it's the Engaged New York assessment, which has been modified to fit exactly what I'm looking for and to make sure I'm getting all my indicators in. So I've pulled questions from other exit tickets, and I've pulled questions from other sources to make sure that it's aligned with their learning target just perfectly. And so I have all of these. I have the questions here, and I have the students scoring here. So the students just took this assessment, and we just went over the answer, or went over their results. Some of my students, when I mark these off, I mark that the question is incorrect, but I don't give them the correct answer because these students want to redo the question. They want a chance. They want a second chance at it. So I always give them a second chance or a third or a fourth chance, really, ultimately. And so some of them have turned these in. They're in the basket today. But I wanted to. So I wanted to get to that, and I'll get to those. I'll score those, rescore those, and do some reassessments if necessary. But they have so these level 6s. They have this test that they just took, this summative assessment. They have all of their exit ticket data. They have all of this IXL data, and they have all of this Prodigy data. And so what I've done then is I've asked them to sit down with me and talk about their overall scores. So. That's what's coming up here in a second. So this is Mr. Guillermo. Say hi, Guillermo.
Hi.
So Guillermo, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of wanting to take a look at your proficiency scale here and your indicators, as well as your evidence. Can I just show the evidence chart? This is Guillermo's evidence chart right here as to where he's progressed upwards, starting at a 2.0 and gone upwards into the 3.0. Good job. I really love how you've done a really great job of keeping track of all that, and your evidence is there. Guillermo, what do you feel like is a strength of yours in this learning target?
I think like ratios and equivalentials and like the ratio tables
Okay. Equivalent ratios, ratio tables,
and ratios and ratio.
and ratios in general. What do you feel like is something to grow on, something you still get better at?
Unit rates and rates.
Unit rates, okay.
Well, rates, just rates.
Just rates in general. How did so? Do you feel like what would be a good overall score for you?
I'd say like a 2.5
2.5. Okay, you're pretty hard on yourself. What do you think? Why 2.5? Defend that.
because like on stuff that I take in like I don't really try to like actually do it. I like just want to get done with it, but I also try.
Yeah.
But I feel like a 2.5 would be good since like I don't have a lot of threes, but I don't have a lot of twos. And I have some 2.5, and I have like a 1.
Okay. Um, that's okay. As far as this goes, which one of these score threes then? You said unit rates. You feel like you don't totally have this one down, but you feel like with these ones, this solving a problem, finding a percentage, and all that stuff,
Yes.
you have everything else down
Yes.
except for that one thing. Okay. So let's take one look here at all of your scores. I see a lot of score threes. You have a couple of 2.5s here on lesson 19. These lessons here were some of the unit rate ones. This one and this one were unit rate ones that you got a 3.0 on. So I don't know. Overall the power law here is at a 2.9. I would be inclined to give you a 3.0, but I like that you're telling me, hey, there's maybe one thing that I still need to work on. So what do you want to do is going forward then to make sure that we've learned this unit rates? What's your plan?
So like when I see something I went to stores and like I saw these discounts and like I saw these discounts like it said 32 and it was 80% off. I like just did the math and I got 12. I didn't cover the price
Yeah.
because it said the price of how much it would have cost and I did the math in my mind and I got 12.8
Yeah.
and when I checked it
It was correct. Okay. So you're going to plan on maybe checking this stuff out in real world contexts? That's super awesome, Guillermo. How are you going to know then? Do you want to try and reevaluate this in a little while? And you can tell me if you feel like you're going to score 3 or not? Okay. All right.
like I feel like in the middle of the middle of the 2.5 or like the middle of the 30.
Yeah? Okay. So somewhere in there.
2.75.
2.75? But that's only just on that one score 3 indicator, right? Because like on these ones, finding a percent, you're a score 3, right? And so unit rate, you're a 2. Part and percent, you're a 3. And unit rate, you would be a 2. Equivalent ratios, you're a 3, right? Okay. Okay. Well, it's interesting conversation, Guillermo, and I love how critical you are of yourself, and I love where you feel like you really do have a good idea of where you're at. So thank you for this conversation. It's been really amazing. Anything else you want to say?
Not really.
Do you feel like this has been a good way of assessing you? I've tried to do stuff on paper. I've tried to give you online assessments, quizzes. I've tried to give you Prodigy. I've tried to give you Khan Academy. Which one of those ways do you feel like is the best way for you?
I say Khan Academy.
You feel like Khan Academy is the best way to show? Is that the best way for you to practice, or the best way for you to show your knowledge?
To practice.
To practice. Which one of these ways is the best way for you to show your knowledge on things?
I see like a Nearpod and the quizzes.
Okay.
And like the exit tickets and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything? What can I do better as your teacher to get you to learn this stuff better? Think about that because I would love to get some feedback on just how I can improve and how I can do things better for you guys. I know it's always kind of tricky to try to get 3 groups up within a day, and so if there's anything I can do better, think about I can do better. Let me know. All right. Okay. I'm proud of you, Knuckles. Gear shift. Oh, I was gonna do the gear shift on you. Try it again, Knuckles. Ah, you stinker. All right, too fast. You are too fast for me. Um, Guillermo is a great example of a student who is very reflective. Also, a very, very brilliant kid. I would use the word brilliant for him. Um, I would easily give him a score 3 on this overall. And so now, as a teacher, I'm just trying to think about what I want to do. Do I want to, honor what he thinks, or do I want to take the control and give him a 3 because on all the evidence that I have that he's turned in, he's easily been a score 3. The true score indicator gives me a 3. He's a 3.10 on the linear, but his power loss is 2.99. His evidence is fantastic, and all other data that I have would back that up. So very interesting conversation. We'll see where I go. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one.